Welcome to the Comics Coffee Metal Podcast, episode 160.
Greetings and welcome to the Comics Coffee Metal Podcast. I'm your host, Don Cardenas, and today I'm joined by writer Wells Thompson. Wells has a really awesome collection that is now on Kickstarter, and we're having this interview a little bit late in the Kickstarter campaign, but I'm lucky we're able to sneak it in towards the end because you are already funded, which is like got to be like weight off my shoulders because I don't want to be like feel like I'm wasting your time. Like you're already funded, so hopefully we get you enough time to get some cool stretch goals or just get that little bit extra push towards the end. But congrats on that first and foremost. But you're right of other fine books and all that. But Frankenstein The Unconquered, it looks really interesting. And I know you've had successful campaigns with the issues for the book previously, and this is a whole collected edition, which is awesome. Love to see that. So, and I've been wanting to have you on the show for a while. I think we met in person finally last year at C2E2. I believe that was the first in person.
C2E2 or Baltimore.
Oh, it was C2E2. Yeah, I don't do Baltimore, so it was definitely C2E2 then. And you're a Chicago fella, so
yeah.
you're I was literally in Chicago earlier today, and so we're 30 some odd miles apart. So
why are we hanging out?
I could say that to every single other Chicago creator. Like, why are we hanging out? It's because it's me, because I'm 40 miles north and I got 2 kids and I don't really have, I have the desire. I have the desire, just not the time, for sure. Even though my wife's constantly like, you should just like see if a bunch of them can like have a lunch or something. Like just go have a dude's day or a comic creators day or whatever. And all that. I'm like, that's like herding cats though. It's like we're all, it's insane.
I mean, I have a regular hangout, get together with a couple of Chicago creators.
Awesome.
Smaller, but like, I'm not pulling Tim Seeley or anything, but definitely, I've got a couple friends that we hang out regularly. So yeah, if you ever want to come on down, we're more than happy to help or to.
I'll definitely inquire more about that after recording. But first and foremost, Wells,
sure.
Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Yeah, well, we've been wanting to come on for a while, so glad to finally be on board.
Excited to talk about Frankenstein The Unconquered, but you know the rules of the show. You got a guitar in the background because and we all listeners are going to know I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about that. So, but first and foremost, Wells, Comics Coffee Metal, what have you been digging lately?
In that order?
Any order that comes to the noggin.
So I have had a hard time sleeping the last couple of nights because I've been kind of wrapped up in a musical journey, specifically going back and thinking about the bands that I was really into in like high school, and how that entire genre of like early 2000s hard rock and nu metal formed, and how it largely abandoned the sort of inherently political roots of the 80s and 90s thrash metal and grunge metal and grunge rock, and as a result in the 2010s and 2020s kind of became culturally irrelevant, and that's just a fascinating subject, but also like we don't have to dig into all of that. And there are certain parallels with that, with like the state of hip hop right now. That's really interesting. But it's caused me to go back and like this afternoon I was at the gym and I listened to Toxicity.
Okay. Yeah.
God, that album still goes so hard. Yeah. It's so good.
One of the rare, if you told nu metal-ish type things that was. I hesitate to call System of a Down nu metal.
Well, they didn't have
like the usual tropes that go with that, but they did get lumped in with that a lot.
I was having this conversation with my wife Brianna of like, what is nu metal, what isn't? Genre is so squishy, and I think now, like from a point of like in 2025, looking back, nu metal is just all of the metal that sucks. and so people are now like, no, Linkin Park wasn't new metal, System of a Down wasn't new metal. It's like, yeah, it was. It's just like that's that is absolutely like the cream of the crop of it. But
I mean, if you want to look at it from a musical standpoint, in terms of like just this like some of the like drop tunings, higher gain sounds, more rhythmic type of leading more, just a heavier leaning into more rhythmic sounds as opposed to speed or precision. Then you could say, yeah, that's kind of a mark of new metal. I've kind of been doing a little bit of a retreat myself into that, but not into like the good stuff. Like I find,
you're digging through the shit to try and find the diamond in the rough, and I'm like, let's go back and listen to the stuff that I know.
No, I'm not looking for diamonds. I'm not looking for no. I mean, I graduated high school in 2000. Like I lived through it. Like I was never like an anti new metal person. I was just like, some of it was good for me. Some of it I enjoyed, some of it I didn't. But like,
I was fully in it. Like I thought it was great music at the time, and then you come out of it and you're like, wow, a lot of that was disposable and worthless.
Well, one of the interesting things, and like the poster boys for new metal is Limp Bizkit. And one of the most interesting things that I've seen in recent years is how people have come back around at that band and said, actually, no, they're really good. And a lot of it has to do with not Fred Durst. Everything else in that band, incredibly talented, highly skilled musicians. Wes Borland is insane. Like,
I don't think you can make a claim that the musicianship of a lot, like I've been going back and listening to like Slipknot, which I have mixed feelings on. I really liked them in high school. Now I'm a little bit back and forth on them. There's some songs I still really like. I need to sit down and listen through like Iowa again, the Subliminal Verse, and see like if it was a collected, like as a collection, it still works or not. But like one of the things I found is that I appreciate now that I didn't back then is like, now I see, okay, the writing is melodramatic. We're sort of hitting some of the same notes. They have kind of a more unique spin on it than a lot of the bands that were doing the same thing were. But like from a songwriting perspective, okay, take it or leave it. The percussion, the musicianship, the like actual instrumentation is really, really rich. The production is so crystal clear on all of it, and in a way that a lot of new metal felt really muddy and gross. And like a lot of Slipknot's riffs are clean as hell.
And you got to know how to play them too. Like there's 3 or 4 different videos of Mick Thompson from Slipknot recording some of their riffs, and you're just watching him fucking go, and you're like, this is insane what this guy is doing at that time. Like now, it's kind of an arms race of technicality with a lot of people's riffs 100%. And stuff, which it has its pluses and minuses with everything like that, kind of like the shred era of the 80s where everyone's trying to go faster or more, whatever. And now it's like, how many like tricks can you put in this riff? How many, weird little accents can you put into a riff or whatever? But like, besides the point, like, I was kind of going back and like, going through some of this stuff and just kind of like revisiting a lot of it. There was a band that I really, really liked that came out around that time, which I don't think they were new metal. They just came out at that time and they were lumped in new metal, but they were definitely just like a hard rock band. And that's a band called Soil.
Soil.
Yeah. And they're from Chicago. And I mean, they had a couple of big hits. Their big hit was like Halo, a song called Halo. They had a couple soundtrack stuff. Their singer took over for the singer of Drowning Pool after he passed away. He was the second new singer, but then now they're back together and all that. And but then
as a note, I'll say, to me, like the quintessential new metal song is "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" by Drowning Pool.
Sure.
It is a perfect encapsulation of everything that makes the genre both really interesting and also like completely disposable. That song goes hard and it's memorable, and like people who weren't around for it still like remember that song fondly. And then you think about it for 2 seconds, you're like, what is the A, nothing else on that record is anywhere near as good, and B, like that song is saying nothing. It's just a vibe.
I know for a fact there are people though young people these days who know that song, but they know the Psycho Stick version where it's the Muppets singing I Can Count to 4. If you haven't heard that, I will try to remember to link it in the show notes.
I need to. That
it is
amazing.
Well, Psycho Stick, they're a band. They've done like a lot. They do like a lot of like silly songs. Like like I don't know if you ever make your way up further north in Illinois, there's a station called 95.1 Will Rock, and they play I think like at 5 o'clock they play like the Beer Is Good song, and that's a Psycho Stick song or whatever. Like, but anyway, I'm just wondering, like, there's people who've heard that song and like, oh, that's an actual song, like, like the kids who like heard Master of Puppets for the first time in Stranger Things, and they're like, wait, how old is this song? Like,
yeah, I feel like TikTok has and just meme culture in general has recontextualized so much of like the music we grew up with. In a way that truly makes me feel like an old man shaking my fist.
I kind of love all of it. There's definitely like,
I love it.
And I've long abandoned the idea of like a guilty pleasure. It's like, you like it, like, because you know what? Sometimes you want a fucking Big Mac, and sometimes you want a nice pristine filet mignon. Sometimes you want
100%.
like, so. If I just want some Big Mac music, man, yeah, I'm gonna put on fucking break stuff. I'm just gonna put that on and enjoy it for what it is, and then then I'll go put on my fancy high end critically received whatever. I don't care.
I find that life is a lot more enjoyable when you embrace the diversity of sounds, and like don't pigeonhole yourself to a single genre, and also just like don't you don't have to you can sit there and know it's trash, but like enjoy what you enjoy. There's nothing wrong.
Exactly. So not to detract too much, I hope we didn't go too far, of course, what you wanted to say, but we started this conversation
not at all.
Revisiting toxicity and all that. Was there did I derail you from where you wanted to go from that?
I mean, not particularly. Just I truly don't think there's another singer or another band that could pull off a song like Prison Song, the first song off that album, in which Serj Tankian is just quoting like prison statistics to you.
Yeah.
Like, but it works, and it just it works as a song, and you're there with it. I feel like there's so many examples of that kind of song that would feel extremely preachy and like and get in the way of the music, and like they really managed to in a kind of a similar way that like Rage Against the Machine managed to like make the political messaging like integrate with the music in such an interesting and fun way that like and in a way that like makes you can't forget about the message as you're listening to it, but it never distracts from the music.
Yeah. That well put. Like it's definitely something where it's like you could easily just come across as preachy or whatever. Sorry, there's like a fly.
100%. Which I think, there are people who say that System of a Down is preachy. And frankly, I would say that toxicity is more relevant today than when it came out in subject matter wise.
Yeah,
So maybe they were onto something. If you feel like they were preachy, like maybe listen to them. I don't know.
Yeah. You can't really use that argument when it's like, no, it's even more relevant now. Same with Rage. Like it's
100%.
like it is stupidly relevant right now, and incredibly sad that it is.
You don't want it to be, like that. I think a lot of metal is like, in the same way that like Pink Floyd's The Wall is like this angry album that is like true to form, kind of incoherent. A lot of metal, and new metal especially, veers toward that kind of attitude about it. It's just like angry and loud, and there's not really a point to it, but that does feel true to some extent. Where like the rare bands that were able to no, we're angry for a specific reason that we're pushing you in this direction. Really captured something, and those are the bands that like we remember from that era, and that still stand out today and are still relevant today. So yeah, if anyone tells you that they don't like politics in their music or art or whatever, like all you have to do is like look back and see what anyone remembers from that era. It's like, yeah, it's all the political stuff.
Yeah. Well, is there anything like newer, metal or hard rock wise that you've discovered recently, or fairly recently, I should say?
I haven't been keeping up with much of the rock scene, like, and partially this is my ignorance and like complacency with music, and partially I've been getting more into stuff like very recently. In the last couple of weeks, I've been listening to a lot more stuff that I wouldn't have listened to otherwise, trying to expand that. But also part of it is like I said, I feel like the abandoning of those political roots led to a state where like metal and guitar music has really lost its relevance, and like I don't hear about guitar bands pushing the musical conversation anymore, like culturally. It's pretty exclusively pop and hip hop that people talk about, and not unearned. There's like a lot of the conversation is being moved by pop. Kendrick Lamar has put out some incredible albums recently that like are really sonically interesting, and like Tyler the Creator, same thing, like Igor Chromacopia are fantastic records, and it just made me sit there and be like, what happened to like four dudes making a band out of their garage? Like that era, maybe it was like always going to be the case, just technology wise. Like the electric guitar was at one point the thing that made the most crazy sound, and then Tom Morello did an entire solo unplugging his guitar and scraping it across the string, scraping the chord across the strings. And at that point, you're like, okay, well, you can't really push that any further. So, what else? Where else does it go?
Yeah. I know there are like metal bands and other stuff that are very much in the realm of like push or speaking up on political things or social things and all that, but they also tend to be more on the extreme end of things. So you're not going to get them on the radio. You're not going to get them trending on TikTok or whatever for having, to their credit, like pop or hip hop, a catchy way of getting that message across. One of the things I love most about metal is that, like, and like comics and all that, like whatever mood I'm in, like I can find something that matches that is still technically metal, and including like if I'm feeling like I need something that's insular or speaking about something I'm feeling inside, metal does that for me so much more than anything else. And I know, everyone's results will vary, but that's, I feel like the majority though of metal now are people exploring the internal kind of stuff more so. And then, because there's still the, the wide berth of like, just the straight up aggressive stuff, or the stuff, or people just, talking about, random hypothetical, like, evil things or whatever. And all the good stuff metal's done before. But, for me, I that's just kind of like what I notice more.
Metal's really good at exploring like very astringent, extreme emotions. But it's tricky to keep that in the realm of something that you want to listen to long term without getting exhausted. So I do feel, and also it's kind of tricky to go from like that super over the top melodramatic sound to then talking about something a little bit more mundane. It almost feels like a step back. Like you almost pigeonhole yourself in that genre, or you can find yourself doing that. I think there are more creative bands that are able to kind of break out of that. probably the most recent metal record that I've listened to is Daughters, You Won't Get What You Want,
Okay.
which is a incredible record, but I think came out in like 2018.
Okay.
Like 7 years ago
Yeah.
is like the most recent like really heavy record that I've listened
Okay.
to. So yeah, it could just be total ignorance on my part, but I feel like a lot of not that there aren't bands doing it, it's just they've been pushed so far to the fringes that like they don't really move the conversation anymore.
Yeah. And also, I don't think I think like not knowing certain musical acts these days, it's less ignorance and more just there's so much. And
Oh,
if you are
100%.
and if
And
like
like,
and if you are exploring other types of music and other types of bands and genres that you feel like you've kind of neglected, of course you're gonna not,
yeah,
have that. I brought this up on the show a few times where like I kind of feel like my genres like go with like the seasons, of what I'm digging. So like, in like so like summer, like I have like very specific ties to very specific types of music for specific things and times of the year that I'm doing things. You know, uh, you most easily mentioned is like if I'm outside in my backyard, like grilling or whatever, I got like some, doom stoner type rock jamming. For me, that's perfect. That's
100%.
perfect, like summer grilling music, man. Just throwing on
Yeah.
some, anything from Old Sabbath to Orange Goblin or The Sword or
Sabbath just did their
they said
their like
they said the
farewell.
Ozzy's last concert, which was looked like a hell of a time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad that the he got to do that last bow out for himself, because
I mean, truly incredible. How old is that man? Like 80?
well, it's
He's been making music for.
I don't know how he is now, but there's a fairly recent interview with him within the past couple of years where he's just like, my brain is there but my body's not, like it, because he has Parkinson's now and all this stuff.
Oh, geez, I
Yeah,
didn't realize
I
that.
believe he.
Yeah, he's 76.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things where it's like, he's how many times has he retired from tour and everyone's like, oh, Sharon drags him back out, but like he said it himself, like he just, that's what he does, that's his life, that's what he loves to do. So it's kind of like, now he's faced with that, but it's nice that he got a big, I feel like proper send off with all that and got to play, with the original Sabbath guys one last time. Kind of amazing. Like the original Sabbath guys are all still alive and together and able to play,
Truly.
Uh,
and willing to live. They've had such like
Yeah.
they haven't had like a an Eagles like animosity, but they've had a lot of back and forth. So
I know Bill Ward, the drummer, he had like health issues with his back and all that, and but I saw, I was seeing some clips of going, and like, Geezer is 75 and he's playing like he's 25, just fucking wailing away on that bass, man. It's insane.
It is really impressive, I'll say, when you get to that point. But you also run the risk when you get that old of looking like the Who at the Super Bowl. You're just like, oh man, you guys need to take a nap. This isn't okay. They're wheeling you out,
or it becomes like a point like when that Benson Boone guy like brought Brian May out at Coachella, I think it was, to do a solo for Bohemian Rhapsody because he was covering it, and like there's like this, the crowd was like, who, like, didn't know who he was, and it's like,
Jesus,
like, and they were going nuts for the song though. It's like, that's the guy who like co-wrote the fucking song.
wrote the song. Like, yeah, that's
like, again, you can understand, like, because for us, like, we grew, I definitely grew up Wayne's World. Like, I knew, like, Queen was still very relevant.
Yeah.
100%. I remember the Freddie Mercury tribute concert and all that stuff, so that was so culturally relevant. But then I'm like, well, it's 30 years ago. So never mind.
Queen's another one of those bands that like I have always had an appreciation of, but I need to like dig through their discography and like really listen to all of it. Yeah, man, there's so much.
Yeah.
But I've been enjoying what I've gone back to listen to, which is again a lot of like Rage, System of a Down, Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park. Still fucks tremendously. It's still an incredible album. And I, you know, some disparate songs here and there from some artists that I liked, and occasionally you listen to one, you're like, that was a choice I made back then. let's maybe put that one back in the vault.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's interesting going back and seeing what you were right about when you were 16 and what you were very wrong about. Coffee's interesting for me. I love coffee. I get jittery if I have it past a certain point, so I drink a lot more tea than coffee most of the time. And recently I picked up this cast iron teapot.
Oh, nice. Fancy.
You can see the designs on it. I love this thing. It's kind of I've made it a bit of like my whole personality where I'm like, no, I've got to make sure it's in the room. Got to make sure that people can see it.
It's a nice looking. Hey, it's a nice looking teapot. I don't blame you.
It's a beautiful teapot. It holds like two and a half glasses, like or enough that I feel satisfied that I don't have to like keep going back to the kettle. Right now I'm having some chamomile just because it's not going to jack me up. I'm going to be able to go to sleep afterward. But love Silver Needle. I have this like great bergamot black tea that I picked up from the it's like Winter Blend or something like that. Picked up from the tea shop last time I was there. And then my staples are like white Xiaomei, which is like a really delicate white tea that's super flavorful. Dandelion, which is like grassy, but in a way that I really dig. And then peach ginger black tea. It's just delicious.
Do you
tend not to go for like green teas and stuff that kind of tear up my stomach? But
do you know fellow Chicago creator Jonathan Lamantia?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Their wife is a tea like expert type person. So I have to have Jonathan back on. It's been too long since they've been on, but yeah. So like you're the second person I've heard name a bunch of teas that I like. Oh, I thought I knew some teas. I don't know any fucking teas. Like black tea, okay. Earl Grey,
and I don't claim to like know. I probably know more about booze than tea, like on the whole, for sure. Tea is just like something I enjoy. It's that level of like I don't claim to be an expert in this, and I don't have to be an expert in this. I can just enjoy it at sort of a surface level.
Yeah.
Which I'm finding very freeing as I get older, of just like things that I don't have to pressure myself to be good at anymore. Playing music, writing comics, making, are all things that like I love. And if I'm not the best at it, I'm going to go insane.
Yeah.
Whereas like, me and my wife got into archery recently because it helps her back. And like, I don't care if I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't care if I hit the bullseye every time. I'm just happy to be, working out and having a time and like going to the range.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah. I don't think I was ever like, I don't know if you have any specific neurodivergences, but I have ADHD. And so I'm very much the jack of all trades, master of none type of person.
Sure.
Where it's like, if there's something I want to learn how to do, I learn enough I would feel competent at it, but I'm not going to be like the best. And I'm fine with that. I just I'm always like, I want to learn enough to do the thing I want to do. And, with comics, like that was the one thing where I'm like, well, that I push more, because, but like, even with music, like I love playing music and all that, but like when it comes time to like, I don't sit down and like practice scale. I should practice scales. I should practice alternate picking runs and stuff like that. But I only end up doing that when I'm like, okay, I wrote this song. I need to do a solo. I know what I want to do. So I could sit here and spend, collectively over, too many days, like a bunch of hours piecing it together. Or I could just try to like learn, practice that stuff for a bit, do the thing, and then move on. And then, 6 months later, I forgot how to do it. So I have to redo it again.
Yeah, I fully relate to that. So like when I was in high school, coming up, I was super into the saxophone. Like seriously, at that point, seriously considering like, do I go for which of these two incredibly impractical paths do I go down? Do I try and be a musician or do I try and be a writer? And I at some point had to pick one. I just realized I couldn't really balance both and be as good as I wanted to be in either. And so now when I go back and play music, I find myself kind of like frustrated with myself that, my playing is stagnant and I don't have the chops that I used to. But like, that's fine. I'm not recording. Yeah. I'm not like, I'm just doing it for me. Yeah. Like I don't have to. I'm not even like a part of a band or anything where I have to like be on top and practice and stuff. But also, I feel that pull of like, God, I should be like practicing every day. I should be practicing scales and really digging in and trying to level up. And but then also I'm like, yeah, but I spend I spend a good portion of my day worrying about producing books. Yeah, and there's not really a place to fit in, sitting there, learning how to sweep pick. And, leveling up my leveling up how to like play guitar better when it's just for me and I can achieve that level of like satisfaction if I ignore that voice in my head that's like, why aren't you as good as you used to be? I can just pick an acoustic guitar and play the rotation of songs that I really really like and feel perfectly satisfied. I don't need to like show out. And then sort of recently, same thing I would say happened with. So I was going back to coffee. I there was a point where I was actually contemplating opening up a coffee shop. Okay. When I had like a business plan, and kind of two things stopped me. The first and more practical being like the economy got bad, and a bunch of coffee shops started closing down, and I was like, probably not a good time. No. Probably let's hold on to this one. But also just like the more I looked into it, the more I was like, this would have to be my full focus or it would definitely fail. Like it's already risky, but if I'm not 100% dedicated to it, then it will fail. And am I comfortable not doing a Kickstarter again? Am I comfortable not making comics? Like, I'm gonna always be pulled to do that. So like let's just focus fully on the comics. Yeah.
No, I totally get that because I've had those, not as far as doing a business plan or anything like that, but I've, back in probably my later 20s, early 30s, back when I was like struggling to like find time with the full-time job and like working through stuff that was preventing me from getting better art wise and all that, I kind of felt a little bit of a pull to kind of like in my town or area, like we don't really have a lot of great like cafes or anything. And I'm like, I would, I kind of would love to like open like a sandwich coffee, like kind of cafe type place. But then, when I stopped and really, really thought about it, I'm like, that's going to be my entire life. That's such a huge risk. That's such like, I don't know the first fucking thing about health and safety standards for that kind of stuff. Like, so it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, not nearly.
I'll say as a background, I have been in food service, or I was in food service.
You at least had like a logical stepping off point where you're like, I know what I would be.
I was a bartender, and it's like they're not 100% transferable, but they're like pretty close in the scheme of things. And I knew how to make, I knew how to make coffee drinks, and I knew how to practically like run a restaurant. It was just it was also partially it was a matter of like, I don't like to wake up early. Do I see myself waking up at 5 a.m. every day for the rest of my life? No.
Wells,
So
I was a hardcore like up at 2, sleep till 9, 10 person.
mhm,
When when I could, obviously I had a full-time job for a very long time, many full-time jobs. But like now being a parent and trying to have some sort of like consistency in my life, pretty much every day of the week I'm up at 4 to 5 in the morning.
yeah,
just to be able to get some things done that I want to
totally.
get done. And then like it comes like podcast nights, like right now, are like usually the one of the 2 times I'm up past like 11 during the week.
Yeah,
And not because I don't want to be, just because my body's like, motherfucker, sleep. Like
you gotta go. You can't be doing this.
which also like leads into like I've actually kind of cut back my coffee a lot recently.
Mhm.
Part of it is the fact that several times a week I'm going to the gym in the morning and I'm taking like a pre-workout and that has caffeine in it.
Mhm.
And I also have my medication for ADHD, so like I'm trying not to like do too much stimulant stuff.
Totally.
So
Totally.
like I've definitely I used to be like a 3 cup a day person coffee wise. Now I'm down to like 1, maybe 2, or maybe 1.5.
Totally.
Like I'll throw some iced coffee in one of the a smoothie or something, which is nice in the summer, to have that option. But
100%.
yeah,
My buddy Alex Breen, who's another comic book writer,
yeah.
has been. Have you spoken to Alex?
He hasn't been on the show, but I know of Alec. I think we've had. It's hard to tell who I've actually had
Sure.
interactions with at this point.
Probably
But
met since
I
80s,
I
too,
I
usually.
I know of and the of the person
Sure.
and all that.
That guy drinks, no exaggeration, like 12 cups of coffee a day. And he told me that this is like at this point in his life, he's scaled way back on his
Oh,
coffee
wow.
consumption.
Yeah.
We make fun of him all the time for it. Like the joke is, no matter what point in the night we are, hey Alex, you want a cup of coffee? Yeah, kids, let's stop by a Starbucks. Let's stop by a coffee shop.
Well, here's the thing. Like I was definitely one of the people who like I could drink the cup of coffee and just go right to bed. But I just for my own personal like health reasons, like I didn't want to like poke that bear too much,
Totally. Yeah, I 100% respect anyone that's like, this isn't a problem yet, but it could be.
Yeah.
So not gonna.
Yeah.
And usually I see that with drinking a lot more than with like coffee, but totally respect it either way.
Yeah, and also I found like I'm trying to curb my like late night like the past few weeks I've been really following a strict like diet macro configuration plan. Like I have an app that like tells me like how much I got left of every important macro of my diet left. So I'm like I kind of noticed that at night, if I had coffee at night, like I was also more prone to like wanting to have something to eat or a snack or something that I didn't really need or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I guess, not to say that again, I'm super strict about everything, because on the weekends I get filthy for sure. But during the week I try to keep it tight,
100%.
Because
no,
you gotta
I
live.
find myself like,
you gotta live, man.
I find myself snacking and
Yeah.
and like eating outside of when I should all the time. That is something I feel like I need more discipline in my life.
Well, I come as someone who's always been like, heavier set when my for the vast majority of my life I've been the weight I am now, just in different configurations.
Sure.
So,
yeah, less muscle, more belly.
Yeah, and there's, I still got plenty of belly in there. So it's just like it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, it's the that's been my vice. Food is my vice, man. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that other stuff. Not that I judge people who do. I'm just like, that's just food, man. Like, you set some sour Mike and Ikes in front of me, man, that they're gonna be gone. Like you
totally.
like
100%.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. No, I feel similarly, but I have kind of the opposite, not problem, but like configuration of like me and my brothers stick skinny
yeah.
and always have been. My dad is barrel chested, beer gut, and not unathletic.
No,
Like he did triathlons. He was a rock climber, a mixed
he's a true dad
medium
bod. Like
climber.
he could still handle himself.
Yeah,
You know, he's got some strength. You know,
it's
he's got the
yeah,
body.
no,
You know?
he's strong. He's just
Yeah,
big. He's just always
yeah,
been kind of had that big body. And so and like, I see myself, I pull my hair back, that's
yeah.
dad. Like, uh, like as I grow older, I look more like he
Hmm.
does. And it's just that, like, maybe I'll stay, mostly this body shape,
Hmm.
but like that bomb could drop at any moment. So I gotta like make sure that I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, I need to be taking care of myself, but like, I don't want to I don't want to wake up and suddenly like, have exploded.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's I can't in terms of um, father genetics. Like I'm glad my dad gave me his hair. Um, and I am not glad he gave me his gout.
oh
Which
Jesus, I'm
which
so
which
sorry
which
to
is the
hear that.
funniest thing to me. Like I just like say I got the gout. I might as well have the fucking
That's,
consumption or something too.
oh
I get the vapors from time to time. Like what is
My
this?
yeah, my dad gave me this whacked ass like hair, which is I've always been really I guess undisciplined with my hair
Mhm.
would be the best way to put it. Like you see me now and it's like this kind of long. It doesn't look terrible, but this is as long as it gets as an adult.
Mhm.
But I'll cut it from here to like short as
Mhm.
hell, and I don't cut it for like six
Yeah.
months at a time. I don't want to do a haircut every 2 weeks. That sounds
Mm.
exhausting. And then in high school, it
Yeah.
was like down past my shoulders pretty much
This
all
is
the
the
time.
longest it's ever been in my entire life. The
Really?
longest I ever did in like high school was like down like to my chin, but then I joined the wrestling team. So then I had to cut it.
Oh yeah,
I had to
off.
cut it
Yeah.
real short. And ever since then it was always just like, a fade or whatever. And then for I think around 2020, yeah, in 2020, I wasn't doing so great in the old cabeza, and I ended up pulling a Britney and just like shaved my fucking head. And then when I grew it all out, I ended up
Mhm.
going for like an undercut situation. I think I was doing that before anyway, but then like that was getting like super long, and my wife's like, "Are you like where is this going?" She's like, "You do what you want to do, but I just want to know where is this going." And I'm like, I think I just want to kind of
Yeah.
grow it all out. So I just like started growing it all, and this is what it is. I don't know how long I'm going to keep this like this. Um,
I mean, it matches the
yeah,
aesthetic. I'll say
yeah.
it's not a bad look for you. I think it works.
I don't
But
think I'm ready to go back. I'm never really going to go back to like really short, but like,
mhm.
you know, here's the thing. But my hair, like, it's like stupid, like thick hair, and
Yeah, it's got that hair kind of.
and my wife's like she's just like surprised I've lasted like 3 summers with like this longer hair or whatever, and I'm like I am
That's
too.
gotta be
And
brutal.
actually the thing that bugs me the most is not the things I thought it would be. It's not like, oh, it's in my face or it's hot or whatever. It's
Mhm.
catching the back of it when I'm trying to sit up, or like
Yeah.
it constantly ending up in my mouth when I'm eating food or something. Or
Yeah.
finding that one
Yeah,
long
struggle.
straying hair that's like flopping around your face while you're trying to sleep, and you're just trying to like, where is this thing? You know, that's the thing that bugged me. Not because it's hot or whatever. Like that has like not bothered me at all. So, but yeah, I thank my dad for that hair. But my dad's, um, he's on the thinner side, and I'm like, so definitely on my mom's side, we got the Chubbs gene. We got big old legs. Um,
Mhm.
it's funny because my oldest brother, he's my half brother, and me are the two siblings that look the most alike, and it's kind of
Mhm.
hilarious because he has adult daughters now, and they're like in their mid to late 20s, and they've recently moved to Chicago, so I've been reconnecting with them a little bit. and they're looking at me like you look so much like our dad. And I'm like, I don't know why it skipped my other three brothers that much, but like me and my oldest brother, like we got the big old droopy dog cheeks and what I call them, like the hooded eyes or whatever. So we're ready to be old men anytime soon. Just wait. Yeah. But regardless, enough about that. We were talking about tea and coffee. we got into our appearances. So anyway, how about comics? What comics have you been digging lately? If you had time to even read comics.
Less than I would like. One of the things I love about Chicago, though, is public transit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to drive anywhere, so that gives me a lot of like little pockets of time to like pick up a book and comics. A lot of the time, you can get through a trade going from where I live to downtown and back. Mm-hmm. Like it's not super infeasible to do that. I've actually been contemplating getting a membership to the Art Institute for two reasons. One, I heard they give you free coffee and you can just hang out there, put on, like, get your laptop out.
Nice.
I can essentially write there and drink free coffee for like, I don't know, $120 a year or something like that.
Not bad.
But also it would give me an excuse to get back on the train every day and I would read a lot more, which I do really miss. One of the stealth benefits of having not a 9 to 5, but a regular day job before I quit and did comics full time is that I got to read. I read my first year in Chicago, like jumped from like reading 5 books a year to reading 40. Wow. Just because I had all this time that I wasn't driving. It is easily the biggest quality of life change I've ever experienced. But recently I've been I read this book, Sir,
from Fellhound.
Partially driven a lot by the fact that Fellhound is a beast, and I absolutely adore them. She's a really fantastic artist. We've done a couple covers, or she's done a couple covers for me. And she's just a wildly talented storyteller. Leans into kind of some shoujo manga aesthetics that I'm not always the biggest fan of, but I think she manages it really well.
Yeah. I really like Sir. It definitely, like, I don't have like a preference either way for that kind of manga stuff, because manga's long been a blind spot for me that I know I need to get into. But yeah, it definitely, like, I get why people like that kind of manga. If this is, based on the inspiration this took from it, like I could see why people are like so into like this stuff, because I know like the manga version will probably be even like, to generalize, more like even more like hyperkinetic dramatic, and like even more like wildly like
Did you ever read And We Love You?
Yes. That was the first. Yeah, that was my first time.
Incredible. Commander Rao as well. Incredible books. I love their, like, they do the most wildly creative like panel layouts and page like design that I've maybe ever seen. I really appreciate going through their books, and it's super infectious and feels really kinetic.
I don't know if I hope I've told them this, because I'm pretty sure they've been on the show twice, at least twice. But yeah, Fell has a really great eye for like doing a really interesting layout, but it's still making sense. It's still being good storytelling, because interesting layout and good storytelling don't always go hand in hand. Right. Names withheld, but like it's so that is definitely like a skill they have. That's like, no, that's why that's definitely like a feather in your cap that sets you apart from other folks, and all that. But yeah,
100%.
for sure.
And then I just started Who Killed Sarah Shaw. Really enjoying it so far. I've been hearing about this comic since I started like getting into the comic scene, and I haven't had a chance to actually get my hands on it. So to finally have it feels like I'm
It's
ticking a box that I should have ticked 5 years ago.
it's a stupidly good book. Frankie and Adam just fucking they nailed just like the vibe and alone.
Yeah, that very
You know,
true
yeah,
crimey
because
podcast.
that you could say that taking the true crime investigator, reporter, podcaster, whatever thing has become kind of its own mini genre with stuff, but like they really just kind of like nail the feel of the characters of the town they're in and all that. Like you get that it feels like one of those gems, like gem like movies that people don't talk about from like the 90s, where it's like when you could still make movies for $10 million and
when you could when you have like the incredibly like micro budget but still like kind of Hollywood, like almost what David Fincher used to do. David Fincher was like a little bit.
I mean,
more,
I think the closest that we've gotten to that recently is that what was it, that Wind River, I think it's called, with Jeremy Renner, and it's by the Yellowstone guy before he became the Yellowstone guy, and all that.
Gotcha. Regrettably, that's another thing I've had to just kind of let go is movies. Like I don't see nearly as many movies in the theater as I used to. I don't. I'm not able to catch as many even on streaming. Like I love cinema. I love. I went to school for I went to school for English, but like with a slant toward film and screenwriting and like a lot of what I did in college and sort of the lead up to me doing comics was writing a lot of short films. I made friends with like the entire like digital filmmaking department essentially. And we would hang out and talk about movies and watch movies. And when it came time for them to like, do their big projects, I would be sitting next to them, like helping them write the script, and on more than one occasion, just wrote the script for them. And then we did some like film festivals after college, and it like became really clear that as seriously as they thought they were taking it, I have always been more of the let's get out and do it guy. And I tend not to let anything get in my way, which is why I'm running like 8 Kickstarters this year.
I was taking a step back and looking before, getting ready for the show and all that. I'm like, holy shit, like does Wells sleep? Like is he gonna tell me he's drinking 12 cups of coffee a day? Because there is like so much going on right now. It had gone on and seems to be coming up.
I would love to be able to sit here and say this is totally healthy and I'm fine. No, I think a little bit of it is driven by spite, and I'm not proud of that. Of just like you guys aren't going to publish me, I'll publish myself. I'll publish myself so much you'll be embarrassed.
Listen. Spite is the spine of the comic book industry. Don't let anyone say, even back in the days of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, even back before then, fucking Spite, set this industry upright. And the spite of independent creators is the lifeblood of the comics industry, because without that, we would just have, what I'm sure are, extremely passionate people, but working on big IPs in that alone, and I can't say that I'm solely fueled by spite, but I have definitely drawn upon it to like, I mean,
when I was,
go ahead.
I think making a book like, I had this conversation with the artists the other day. So when I was making Smut, which is my not safe for work slice of life comedy, that we just did the third and final issue of. Like a lot of that was I have something to say, and this is a genre that I would like to dabble in to see if I enjoy being a part of it. And a not insignificant part of why I made that story was just looking at the state of like projects on Kickstarter who were drawing from like, you know, being essentially porn cover mills like, and even the ones that were like nominally doing like a story to justify it. It's like the story is paper thin. It's there you're there to you know, gouge people of their money. So
and I get it. Like I could do this, but do it good. You know,
kind of was like and that feels kind of arrogant to say, but then you know, I went ahead and did it, and some of the comments that I get on that book. So my friend Andrew was reticent to read it at first because he was like, not my genre or whatever. And I didn't like make him. He eventually heard good things about it and read it, and he went, it had a plot and characters that I really liked, and I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, this is the bar is in hell. Like clearly I wasn't wrong.
I mean, it's but you know, it's because you approached it as a comic, as a story, I'm sure that, you know, and not because you saw money signs in your eyes because someone wants to see the boobies or whatever, you know,
right.
And because that leads to true to any comic. Like anyone can make a comic. I respect anyone who's made a comic because I know just even if you make a bad one, how fucking hard it is just to finish it
it's
and get it done. But like the ones that, you know, especially the independent ones, you know, that seem to like speak the loudest or seem to get the most, at least praise or attention. Most of them are because, well, at least in the circles I'm around, are the ones that have great characters. You know, and even if the story hook, the main story hook isn't what example, Who Killed Shaw? Murder mystery. Okay. Like there's a
small town murder mystery.
Throw a rock, you'll find a murder mystery book or something somewhere.
Yeah.
But they fucking nailed it. They did an excellent job. And that's why, you know, people love that book. That's why that book has been, you know, around and is doing well. I hope it's doing well. I feel like I see it like even like in places like that are not my immediate circles that it's being mentioned.
I mean, it creeps up because it is. It's great. It not that like they did anything other than make a great book. I think to perpetuate this. But it's like it's great word of mouth marketing in the sense that people love it and want to talk. And I respect the hell out of any any creator that can achieve that, because that's not something that you can plan. That's not something that like you. It's just it has to happen organically. But yeah, I set kind of ridiculously high standards for myself. So I try very hard not to make anything that's going to go out into the world that I'm not reasonably confident people will read and be like, oh, this is really good. This is a big meaty hook. Yeah. The characters are great. And just by nature of what I do, most of my stuff tends to be really character driven. Sort of with Frankenstein The Unconquered being the exception to that. But even then, it feels more like a big plot thing happens at the beginning, and then it's just one dude's journey to be the worst piece of shit, to be like the anti-Western hero of just he goes to a small town and he ruins it and then he moves on.
Well, you know, not to cut short anything you're trying to say, but I mean that's a pretty great segue to Frankenstein The Unconquered.
Yeah, let's talk Frankenstein.
So Wells, what exactly is Frankenstein The Unconquered?
An hour into this podcast.
That's how it goes. Hey, that's how it goes.
Great conversation. So Frankenstein The Unconquered is me and my friend Dalton, I alluded earlier, I did a lot of film. He was one of those people in the digital filmmaking world. He was more of a writer. He got me into comics. We make comics now, is the short version. But yeah, Frankenstein The Unconquered is our creation. It started with an idea that he had of just like, hey, Frankenstein with a broadsword. And I was like, okay. He's like, and it's the post-apocalypse. And I'm like, cool. I don't know how we're going to make that interesting, but let's go. And then we made these 8-page short comics based on that idea, and we found some cool stuff. And we just went with kind of the philosophy of like, if it belongs on the cover of a Megadeth album, it belongs on Frankenstein The Unconquered. A real conversation we had at one point was like, I wrote a script that I thought was really bonkers, and I gave it over to Dalton to read for the first time, and he read it, and he looked up and he said, "Can the mastodon have wings?" And that was the only note he had for the entire thing. So yeah, it's always been driven by just kind of like big, loud, bombastic set pieces, and then when we put those stories together along with some other horror stories into a book called Descent into Dread, which is our first published book. It's a black and white horror anthology. You can still get it in any of our... Hey, baby. My cat has decided to join us.
Oh, look at that kitty. That's a good-looking cat right there.
She's a beautiful girl. So after that, we were talking. We're like, we could keep doing Frankenstein The Unconquered, but what would we do with that? And we were just spitballing ideas and came up with the kind of... I don't want to spoil it because it's the big reveal at the end of the book that makes it work. But yeah, we came up with something and we were like, oh, that's compelling, and had to do it from that point. So now we have this 5-page miniseries that is going to branch off into some more one-shots, into another Frankenstein series, and it's gonna get crazy. Really looking forward to continuing to work on this project and this world. But
nice.
Yeah, we've got the first 5 issues, which we started 2.5 years ago, and have compiled into this trade that we're making now into a prestige hardcover and whatnot. Let's see. I guess pitch. I kind of got lost in the sauce there. So Frankenstein the Unconquered is the story of Frankenstein's monster from the original novel thawing from the Arctic ice after chasing down his father to find that he was already dead. Goes out, freezes in the Arctic, and then thaws out to discover that the world is bombed out, post-apocalyptic, looks exactly like he does. Is violent, is broken, is ugly, and sweetheart, you can't be in front of the microphone.
I can hear you fine. Let the kitty be.
Let the kitty be.
All furry friends are welcome on the show.
She's everything to me. I love this girl. So he tries to kind of fit into a world that's mutated and doesn't really view him as really any different than them. He doesn't get the same kind of horror shocked response. And then sooner or later, kind of old habits kick in, and he meets a situation where he knee-jerk reacts with violence, and that sets him on a path toward kind of becoming Conan the Barbarian, in a sense, where he's just the baddest guy around, and he's going to make his mark on the world, whether they like it or not.
Awesome.
It's a big, meaty kind of revenge thriller set in a Mad Max style post-apocalypse.
Nice.
And bonus, you get guest appearances from sort of the entire slate of Universal Horror. Because as much as we wanted to write a love letter to Conan and Pulp Comics, we also wanted to write a love letter to our favorite Universal.
Yeah, I see you got a Wolfman. You got a Larry Talbot in there. That was nice to see.
We've got a Wolfman. We've got Jekyll and Hyde. In the most recent, which we had an argument over whether or not it would be fine, but or whether or not it would fit. but we have a alien predator hybrid monster, essentially called a drone, that we made because it's really a love letter to all horror, not just and movie monsters, and not just the classic.
And
movies.
and it's comics. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
So why not?
Who's gonna stop us? Who's gonna stop us?
No.
And because it's not just an alien or just a predator, it's both combined together and in a different way than that one movie we're not going to talk about. No one can say that we stole the idea.
Well, to be fair, I don't think anyone could actually see what that was anyway, and that thing was so damn dark.
Exactly. No one knows what it looked like, so ours is
not to detract from the campaign. Please, everyone, please go check out the link in the show notes below. Should be a few days left on the Kickstarter when this posts.
For sure.
But I was kind of chuckling to myself when I saw that there's a co-writer named Dalton on here, because I have another friend named Dalton who hosts a podcast with a friend of his named Dylan called "Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe?" And they
I love that.
They basically built a whole dark universe, 3-4 phases of movies, starting with the terrible 2017 Mummy, Tom Cruise Mummy.
Yeah.
So they took that and then they springboarded with that, and they would each pick a monster and they would write a pitch. And the show started under the guys like, oh, the obviously jokey guys like, oh, we were hired by Universal to reboot this and get it going and all that. So, but like they have, between the two of them, they have like, they just wrapped up like their whole saga. Like they had like the 3 like big team up movies and like all this stuff. And they've gone through the Wolfman, they've gone through Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde. And they would even like start tying in other Universal movies as offshoots and things like that. The Invisible Man, like they made the Invisible Man like a heist comedy, like a heist horror. So, can you imagine? This is their, because they go and they cast actors and directors, so to speak, like who they think would be great, and then at the end of every like season, they have their big team up movie, and they have people come and do voice acting for it, for the script. And it's really, really fun.
Cool. I'm listening to this.
It's an amazing podcast, and I highly recommend everyone go check it out, because they just like closed the door, literally just closed the door on like, this is the story of all that, and now they're going on. Now they're moving on to something else, which I'm excited to see what they do, because it was really interesting to see them, because they would also talk about their writing process and between the movies, and like, they literally like share audio of them like working out stories and stuff like that. But like, imagine John C. Reilly as the Invisible Man in a horror heist comedy with Walton Goggins as the bad guy.
Yes.
With a vampire Walton Goggins as the bad guy. Or
this man understands me on a deep emotional level. This man understands what I want.
Yeah.
That is how we pitched, not to ourselves, but when we first started doing Frankenstein The Unconquered, that is sort of how we pitched it. Was this is what the Dark Universe should have been?
Yeah.
As we brought in, the Wolfman, the Bride of Frankenstein, the Blob, which isn't Universal. Yeah. Again, fuck it.
Or what was it? Like their Wolfman is actually Larry Talbot, but also another wolf woman, and they cast like Amber Midthunder as the wolf woman, and like the relationship between them two, and like how that's all tied in. And they did a really fantastic job of like making you wish they actually made these movies.
Totally.
And I don't think I'm spoiling it at this point, but like they even made like they did like the Phantom of the Opera, and since they're both musicians, they straight up made like a musical, not like a full length musical, but they had songs and like they went hard on this.
100%. No, this was a project of love and dedication.
And I have nothing but immense respect and even a little bit of pride for them, because I've known and worked with Dalton as a writer, drawing some of his stuff or some of their stuff, sorry, and just seeing their growth as a writer with this series, and their Creature from the Black Lagoon is a great take as well. Like I will just gush on and on, but like it reminds me, it's just funny. Like there's a Dalton messing with the Universal monsters, doing something that I'm like, this seems pretty cool with this.
Yeah, I really like the Universal slate of monsters and just how versatile they are, and that was part of what drew us to Frankenstein the Unconquered, or like Frankenstein as a character and making him the centerpiece. Was like, hey, Frankenstein is a lot like Batman in that it doesn't matter if he's doing a serious horror film or if he's doing Alvin and the Chipmunks. He feels like Frankenstein. He always kind of, the character is sort of his own context.
That's a good take on it.
But also like, there are so many interpretations of the character, and they're all at this point like there's no point in saying like the Boris Karloff is invalid or like not a true character. It's like that one is just as ingrained in the social consciousness as Mary Shelley's original creation, and so we wanted to make something that paid homage to both of it. So we do have like our Frankenstein speaks French and like is pretty erudite when he wants to be, but at this point like the world has kind of broken that out of him, so he really doesn't speak all that often because like he's just moving through the world as kind of an embittered person, and that sort of gives him the appearance of not strictly the appearance of like locked arms, Boris Karloff, but definitely this silent, grim, giant killer, dangerous person that you could almost see like working as that archetype as well.
Nice. Yeah, I think a lot of us are just kind of drawn to Universal monsters just because it feels like something that's like so ripe with, like, you could take any of them really and like do so much with them. 100. And my favorite Universal horror monster thing isn't even a Universal thing, and it's anyone who knows me knows I'm going to say Monster Squad. That's my favorite. Like, and I am, have not been overly shy about saying like I have a pitch for an updated Monster Squad that I so much so that I've actually looked into see who has the rights to do a comic form of that, because I just like would love like to take a stab at that. But and again, because you can do so much with those monsters, so it's really cool to see that people are now doing that and like taking these crazy Conan Western Frankenstein post-apocalyptic or people going into other directions with and all that, because it's it just seems like something that's just like you can do so much with this, so why not? And especially as independent.
I think it's a weird place. Comics are the beauty of comics is how weird it can get, frankly.
And the double-edged sword of being independent and all that is like, one, you can do whatever you want, and two, but the other side of it is like people aren't going to know what the hell it is you're doing unless you have like an accessible hook for them or whatever. So like Frankenstein,
and everything is kind of in conversation. I remember late in my academic career being told like, you can write a paper about whatever you want, but if it's not responding to someone else, if it's not building on a conversation that's already happening, no one's gonna care. Like no one's gonna unless it's like really groundbreaking in an incredibly unique way and like demands to be responded to. You really have to take your ideas and go, okay, I want to do this, and it's like this other thing, but has a bit of a twist to it, so that people who are into that other thing will go, oh, I want to check out what you're doing. And that's sort of how you have to operate, just in general. Very few people get to be like wild. especially right off the
Yeah.
bat, like wildly inventive
Mhm.
with absolutely no kind of preamble.
Yeah.
Almost always it's met with like, oh, that's wild. Good luck with
Yeah.
that.
Like, oh, that's what you're doing. I'm glad. I'm good. I'm really proud, really happy
The
for
amount
you
of
that you're doing that
people,
for yourself.
yeah, the amount of people I've met at comic conventions that want to tell me their like maxi series pitch
Yeah.
for an original character, and it's just like the most bonkers thing you've ever heard. And I'm like, okay, so why don't you make some 8-page shorts and like see how you like making
Yeah.
comics before you commit
Yeah.
to a 500-page epic.
Being primarily an artist, I try to do some writing here and there, but primarily an artist, like I have plenty of ideas for books and stuff that I want to do, but I also have ideas for books that I would love to do, but I know I would never do them because they would be for no one except for me wanting to have it done. No one wants my original superhero universe.
Yeah.
That's not
unless,
shitting on myself.
unless-
That's just me saying like that's an uphill battle that I don't think
Yeah.
is worth it. So like, though I may eventually write the scripts or whatever, or do it just to get it out of my system and do it, like it's never gonna like. I also know like that's not the direction I got to take. That said, I am lucky to be in a position to where like I don't lose money on comics. I don't make enough to not have some sort of other income coming in from comics. But I'm also fortunate enough to have a badass boss. In her words, badass boss bitch wife who
Yeah, absolutely.
who buoys our ship in a fantastic manner.
Hey,
So
same, fully
so
same.
that with the comics I do are the ones I do because I want to do them because they're for me,
Yeah.
and Evie and the Helsings, like that's Steve and I. That's
God, Evie and the Helsings is so good.
it,
I really like Evie and the Helsings.
thank you. It's one of those things where it's just like that's the book we want to do until we're in the ground,
For sure.
But then I have other books that I didn't come up with the idea, but Grant Stoy, Mutual Bud.
Love Grant.
He and I have a pitch together that we're putting together.
Hell yeah.
Because he came, he was looking for somebody, and as much as I love doing Evie and the Helsings, like it's not a constant year-round thing for me. So I'm like, but I want to work with Grant, and then Grant sent me the scripts, and I'm like, I know Grant as just being an awesome person, hilarious, just fun, and I've read his books before, but then when I got his scripts, I'm like, oh shit, Grant's like fucking really good.
Grant's good.
Like this is really fucking. So I'm like, I gotta do this. And like he and I don't want to share anything out of turn, but like I'm sure if you ask him, he might share what we're working on. Well, the book is called Paterfamilia, but in terms of like
I don't know much about it, but my designer Brenda Snell, who makes all of my logos. The way I met them was Grant showed me that.
Oh, okay.
And was like, oh yeah, no, I can introduce you to the person who made it. I was like, yes.
Yeah. So
that's who I.
So yeah, if Grant, like it's up to Grant if he wants to share with the pages, some of the pages I did for the pitch, for the Kickstarter and all that.
Oh yeah.
Whenever that happens, because Grant has a lot going on himself right now.
If Grant had $1 million airdropped on him, all of us would be screwed, because he would immediately put out some of the best comics you've ever seen.
It's
like have marketing like if he had the the resources to actually make his comics and get them out there, and have people read them, like we'd be ruined. Like he's so good. And
hopefully I wouldn't be. Hopefully I'd be working for Grant.
Well, artists have a different
but
relationship.
I get what you're saying. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. Just like, again, like just going back, like the quality of the scripts I was reading, and I'm just like, holy shit, like, because he had me at the pitch, of course, but like I was just like, oh man, I knew Grant was good, but this is for real. Like this is.
There's nothing more flattering as a writer than giving a pitch. Giving a pitch to an artist is like, hey, here's what I want to do, and they're either like they're either on board, but you can tell they're like, okay, we'll see where this goes, or they're like, I don't know about that, like flat out, and then they read the script and they go, okay, yes, like that feels amazing every time.
Yeah,
and I've. Yeah. Most notably with actually Smut, was like the artist was very like, I don't know if I want to get into that subject matter, and I was like, cool, read the script. If you like it, great. If you don't, no hard feelings. And she was like, we're doing this. We're fucking.
nice. Awesome.
And then, but to get back to what you were saying earlier, everyone I know in this industry has their like superhero universe pitch. Yeah. And it's worked out for exactly one person I know, Kyle Higgins with Radiant Black. That's it. That's the one guy. Arguably, you could say Robert Kirkman with Invincible also pulled it off, but like that's not even remotely in our sphere.
But also, that's a different era. And even then, the one person worked out for Kyle Higgins. Kyle Higgins was Kyle Higgins before he did that. He
very well established. With Radiant Black. He had shit going on before.
So there's trust. There's trust with everybody in that.
Dalton has, I think, 3 binders worth of story ideas for like a 60 issue run of a superhero series that he's been working on since he was like 12, and I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this isn't happening. He's like, I know. He knows it's not happening. And at the same time, he's like, do you want to maybe read the first 4 issues? And I'm like, okay, first of all, 60-page issue 1, little ambitious. Maybe reel that back.
Take it back a sec. Yeah.
Love him to death, but it has very excitable kid energy. And I'm like,
I'm rolling internally because I believe I was 12 when I started mapping out mine as well, and the same characters and all that, and same, like, I don't think much has changed in terms of who the characters are at that point. So maybe maybe if we all get airdropped $1 million one day, then we can all do our universes, get it out of our system, and then move on.
Totally. If I get airdropped $1 million, I've got some graphic novels to make. That's all I'm saying. I've got some books.
Nice.
Which is part of the reason, like, why I keep making so many frigging campaigns is like, I don't want to be sitting on these scripts for 10 years before I can even start working on them. Yeah. Like, we gotta get the shit out.
And as nice as $1 million being dropped on you would be, you don't need that right now because Frankenstein's already funded. Your hardcover's already funded.
And we just I don't know if it was during this conversation or if it was before we started, but at some point in this evening we hit our first stretch goal.
Oh, nice.
So, that's everyone gets free digital copies of the of both versions of the original 8-pagers that inspired the entire series.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome.
A little bit of extra content, 32 pages. One in hilarious rough drawings that we did ourselves, and then the other in like professional form. So you can laugh and appreciate how far.
I'm definitely a back matter person. Like, I want to see all the bits and bobs and the, I'm from the, there's a generation of us who got the Lord of the Rings DVDs with all the extras and all the commentaries and all the behind the scenes stuff, and also grew up with, seeing the behind the scenes stuff on like cable TV behind movies and be like, oh man, that's how they do it, and all this other stuff. And we're like, or had Wizard magazine, and whenever they printed like penciled pages or whatever, it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing this, you know, like, and I feel like that's always something I'm like, I don't care what it is. If there's like a behind the scenes or whatever, I'm like, fuck it. Let's see this, you know,
Totally.
let's see how this.
I remember reading, what was it, The Long Halloween? No, not The Long Halloween. No, it might have been. It was one of those, and then it was one of Alan Moore's comics that he did. But reading the confrontation between Calendar Man and the Holiday Killer, and they had like a page breakdown of that and like how it went from script to finished product, and like reading that changed something in my brain chemistry where I was like, you've given away vital information, and I will be utilizing this. And now to pay it back, I in every trade that we do, I have a page breakdown to make sure, or at least in the deluxe edition, just to make sure that like people have that opportunity to see how we.
Those are always my favorite thing. And to keep it Chicago, meant quite a few years ago, the great 4-Star Studios folks, Tim Seeley, Mike Norton, Sean Dove, Sean Emmett, Josh Emmons. They had an app, and they released comics through that app, and you could toggle through layouts, pencils, inks.
God, that's cool. That's such a cool idea.
And if I recall correctly, it was bought by then, you know, before Amazon Comixology, but then just nothing happened to it.
Yeah, of course.
And
because
it's like logistically, it'd be a fucking nightmare to put that together if you're not specifically like gearing stuff for that or whatever. But it's also like, then why, you know, like, but it's just like, man, that was such a cool fucking idea. Like,
it was,
you know, and especially now when like, I dare say most artists are probably digital in most forms.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it would be a lot easier just to put that kind of stuff together.
One of the things that we've had to adjust to is like people want original copies of the pages, but most artists are digital.
Yeah.
So we've incorporated this system of like, oh, you can adopt a page. So you get your name on the page, and we give you like a one-of-a-kind print of that page for you to put in your home. And it's on a ton of podcasts that I've gone on, they're like, yes, we want that. And also like we usually get 1 to 3 pages adopted every single campaign. So people clearly are hungry for ways to consume like digital media as physical media. Like physical media is still a big want that people have. And I think that finding ways to hybridize that is really important moving forward.
I've kind of had the reverse, because when we did the first Evie in the Helsing's campaign, I had a good amount of people asking like, "Oh, are there original pages available?" Like, no, this was all, you know, all done digitally. So then for the second issue, I'm like, well, I did, you know, a big splash page, which I thought was a cool splash page traditionally, and we put that up. Nothing. We had original art up for one of the covers. Nothing. So I'm like, all right, it's for me, it was very much the, you know, like, oh, you should make a t-shirt of that. Okay, here's where you can get it.
No, a lot of people think they want a thing, and then when it comes time to buy it, they're like, actually, maybe it don't.
And I'm not complaining per se about it, because I was able to like, well, for one, like the covers. Do I have them up? Oh, I don't know if you can kind of see them.
Oh yeah, no, I can see them behind the guitars.
There.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
Those are the quote unquote metal foil covers we did. Steve and I alternate covers, so that's for issue 2 and issue 4. And the first one was inked. I had Patrick Brower from Challengers Comics ink it, because he used to do some inking back in the day.
Yeah,
and Challengers is super critical in my journey to like coming back to comics and drawing again and all of that. I love those. I love those guys. And then
Challengers is amazing. For those of you who don't know, Chicago has home to like 4 or 5 of the best comic
It
shops
is
in the
top
world.
tier, comic shop city, from like Challengers to Dark Tower to
Alley
yeah,
Cat, the Howling
yeah,
Pages, even like there's so
from
many different.
zines to actual comic shops to just graphic. Yeah. Challengers is will forever be my comic shop. I don't buy, I don't have a monthly pool or weekly pool anymore. But whenever I want to buy physical comics, I go to Challengers. I just go and get it. My kids know Challengers. They know Mr. Patrick and Mr. Dow.
Right?
You know, uh, so yeah, it's a fantastic shop. So so that didn't sell, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep it, which isn't, because it's important to me, so then that got me thinking, and I'm like, okay, well, for my next cover, like maybe I just have other people who are artists who are instrumental in my journey in comics ink it, see if they want to ink it. So then the second one, you can't really see it, but I had my buddy Kelly Williams ink it. He doesn't know.
Kelly
He yeah.
is inking or is making a cover for me right now
Nice.
for a upcoming
Smart move.
project. Kelly Williams. So Kelly Williams lives in Arkansas, near where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
And he really early when I was starting to make comics, like before we had actually made anything, while we were still kind of figuring stuff out and like working on the zines that we would eventually start to sell at conventions. I went to Dragon Con just as a fan and found my way into a horror comic makers artist with him, Kelly Williams, Dirk Manning. I always forget his name. One of the guys that did Hellblazer for a really long time, and a couple of others are escaping me. And it was like one of the most insanely informative panels and like bits of insider knowledge I've ever gotten, and just a really cool conversation with a bunch of chill dudes. Yeah. And yeah, Kelly's always been like just a really cool guy and fun to talk to, and an incredible artist. Yeah, really. If for those still listening for whatever reason, definitely check out Kelly's work.
Oh yeah, I praise Kelly often on here. Kelly's a bud. I am indebted to Kelly. If he needs a shirt off my back, he's got it. Whatever I can do for him and his wife. They're just amazing, awesome people. And
totally ran into him at Heroes just recently, and we had a brief conversation, which is how he wound up doing a cover for me. Which again, like it's already done. Yeah. It took like a week maybe. I mean, he's incredibly fast for a traditional
it's
artist as well.
I've told him this, and it still holds true. It just feels like I've long had the opinion, like from whenever I first saw his work, like, oh man, this guy's good. And then like just randomly he'll post something new and I'm like, motherfucker just leveled up again. What the fuck? Like,
how is he still getting better? Yeah.
And but I'm saying it in that manner, but like with all the love in the world, like, man, like, all right. like this I love, it's like it's a win. It's a win for me because I get to read this and I get to, Skeeters from him and Bob and Kevin is like one of the most fun books. Like, I wish this was a movie I saw at 2 a.m. on HBO when I was like 10 years old, when my parents were sleeping, and I snuck down and I turned on our hot box and I
something you weren't supposed to see.
And it's like, what is this? And this is the bloody and just it's amazing. But
Kelly is one of those artists that, and comic creators in general, that like you read it and it just inspires you to be better. You're like, I've got to be better for this. This has to push me forward.
Like with certain music, and there's definitely certain creators where like I read their work and I'm like, I gotta go draw something. I gotta go do something. Like and Kelly's definitely one of them. And so he inked that cover and I absolutely love it. So like I've that not being bought inspired a trend for myself for like, you know what, for sentimental sakes, I'm just going to have people who are important to my career ink these metal covers for me. So for the next round of covers, I got a couple people, including a Chicago person. I don't want to put them out there in case anything, they're unable to do it in the end, but a very important Chicago person to my growth as an artist and career and all that, who agreed to do it, who doesn't normally ink people, doesn't normally work traditionally anymore. So,
we'll see.
We'll see. I'm gonna owe them a lot of pizza, I think, but we'll see.
You got the Rama man to
Oh God. Oh, interview over. I got Rod Blagojevich. No.
Blagojevich.
Oh boy.
It's a fun name. To say.
No. It's a good Chicago person. Barack Obama. No.
How did I not? How did this?
I'm gonna ink this cover for you, Don. Anyway. Wells, thank you so much for coming on the show. I don't want to keep you too much longer. But again, you have a guitar behind you. You told me a little about it before we started recording, but what you told me, I'm like, people need to know. People need to hear this story too. So tell us about your guitar.
So this is the first guitar I ever bought. It's a Schecter Omen 6, which is a very cheap guitar, but one that is remarkably like well made for being, this is probably like a $200 guitar. Double octave, carried me through. I mean, this is the guitar that I learned to play guitar on. Carried me through high school and college, and is just still a really beautiful guitar for shredding. Absolutely love it. Put some distortion on it, and I prefer it to any other guitar in my collection.
Nice.
But yeah, it's also a guitar that I was really stupid for buying. My dad was a roadie for the Rolling Stones and like has worked in sound, lighting, production, and instrument rentals for his entire life. He has all the hookups, all the connections I could ever need if I wanted an instrument, and I've never once called on him to. He's gotten me two guitars. He is on his own volition been like, "Hey, we made you this guitar, and we got you this really nice acoustic guitar." But I've never asked him for like a deep cut or like a good equipment or anything like that. I've always just bought my own shitty amps and cheap guitars. But even so, yeah, this one is really special for me.
Was there a Line 6 Spider in your past? Or is there still a Line 6? Oh, okay. We're pulling out the Line 6 Spider. Oh, there we go. Good old 15 water. You still got the paper on the front.
100%.
That's where the tone comes from.
100%.
That's some tone.
Look, I know it's garbage. I don't care.
Listen, I had a Line 6 Spider too. We all went through that phase. We're like, all right, that's cool. Now I was gonna let you go, but then you said the word collection. So now I have more questions.
It's not expansive. I recognized really early on that I could really put myself in a hole collecting gear that I didn't really need.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Ignore all of this. But I'll say one of my favorite things that I own, I don't take it out very often, is this handcrafted guitar. I'm missing a thing there. It's basically a Strat, but with better pickups. Yeah. My dad made it for me.
Nice.
And I recently, I guess not too recently, within the last year, I took off everything and just scrubbed it down and cleaned it up. But it's, has...
Is that a cherry red color?
Yeah. really beautiful, like
for the audio listeners, Wells just pulled out this beautiful looking Super Strat, cherry red, some gold hardware, some was that EMG pickups?
EMG
EMG,
pickups. Yeah.
single coil humbucker bridge. That thing looks sick. That looks like a very pretty guitar there. Nice.
Yeah, I love this thing. And the strings are still fresh because I keep it in the case, which is a pro tip. Don't ruin your strings.
And wipe them down when you're done playing because your fingers are nasty.
Also that, yeah. Things I should do more often.
I don't, but you should. Don't listen to me.
Exactly, yeah. I just live with the fact that they're grimy as hell and sound like trash.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, I love the guitars that I do have.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know if I'll ever commit to it, but the last one that I feel like I want and need is a hollow body Ibanez split. Yeah, they just have such a beautiful sound, and I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
Even though I don't play guitar that often anymore, still just warms my heart to think about.
Nice. Well, you mentioned that the Schecter being like a $200 guitar or something like that. I believe Schecter is one. I think those guitars were very instrumental in like developing the quality that a lot of these $200 guitars, especially a lot of the ones I currently own, because the advancement of like machines, CNC machining and stuff like that in countries like Indonesia and Korea and China and all that makes these guitars like really affordable, but like also like long gone are the days of like your first guitar being like something with incredibly dangerous action, sharp ass frets, pickups that barely work.
I've had a guitar or two that are like that, or that were like that.
Yeah,
back in the day, for sure.
I've been very fortunate, like in all the ones I've gotten that are budget. Like, I'm of the guitars that I've spent, more than a few $100 on, there aren't many, if that at all. And even then, those were like gifts, except for one, which was like I have this Solar Guitars baritone Explorer type, which I absolutely love. I don't mind talking about the price of it because I foolishly used my tech replacement budget in case my iPad died to get it. But I only even got it because I got a free second guitar with that order. And that second guitar was one of their $750+ guitars on top of it. So like even my wife was like, that's a stupidly good deal. Like, you don't do that. Now, granted, they don't do that deal ever again because they broke their website. But luckily, I was one of the ones who got in, and I still had to wait like 4 months for my free guitar. But it's this really awesome blue Solar Super Strat looking thing.
Oh,
this was free.
Beautiful.
This fucking thing was free.
That's a free guitar.
Free guitar. I love this thing. This thing's awesome. I this is my E standard Thrasher. Like,
Yeah.
And a lot of my guitars, like, I have always, but for me, it's like, they each do a different thing. They each have a different tuning. They each have a different, like, whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
And even most recently, I got this $200 Firefly James Hetfield ripoff Explorer type with the Wolfen Man inlays in there, which I then put like knockoff EMG active humbuckers in there from this other company to make it my Temu my Temu era James Hetfield guitar. But I love it, and it's. But yeah, your Omen 6 like kind of was like the reason, that kind of guitar was the reason why I'm able to have way too many fucking guitars now.
Yeah. I don't know how I managed to just luck into the best like guitar that amount
You
of
know,
money could buy, but I truly do feel like,
I-
this guitar. Its name is Grendel. It's a part of my family.
I-
Grendel and Ramona. are the two.
I can attest to being like lucky enough to foolishly just buy a guitar. Mine was a bass because I started off as a bass player, and it ended up being like one of like the best instruments of that like price and era. And
100%.
So yeah, I totally agree with that. And Wells just brought out a saxophone.
So yeah, so this I sold the saxophone that I had in high school, but I within the last couple of years bought this one. It has this beautiful like not I don't know, like bronze coloration that I absolutely adore. From a place called Schrader Music in Nashville, just make these like really beautiful instruments. And it was between this and like a $3,000 or $4,000 beautiful like black and pearl like performance saxophone. Like that's something that you buy if you're a professional and you need something that sounds like nothing else. And I was tempted, but ultimately my wife told me that I could have the saxophone or I could stay married to her. And that tempted. So we got this one, which is significantly cheaper, but still sounds great. I would pull it out and play, but my wife is asleep, and I would like to remain married.
Yeah, it is. We share a time zone, so it is past 11 here. So like, I'm pretty sure that would, lead to just not good things for Wells right now. Though,
we would have a conversation.
So now I know if I have a song that needs a sax solo, I know who to talk to.
Oh, call me in a couple of months. I gotta get my chops back up. It's been too long.
Trust me, if I started working on a song that would need it now, if I do a metal cover of Baker Street or something, I don't know. we'll
hit me up. Why not? I don't know if I'm performance ready, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Hey, that's the fun thing about recording these days. You don't have to be performance ready. You just got to nail it a couple times.
There we go.
Awesome. Wells, thank you so much for showing off a little bit of your guitar collection and your saxophone, which I will forever say thanks to The Simpsons. And for coming on and chatting about Frankenstein. We'll definitely have to do this again. I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities because you are a very, very busy man and you have no signs of slowing down.
Which I will say, if you don't mind, we definitely have the Frankenstein The Unconquered campaign going on. We will, depending on when this drops, we will either be in pre-launch or have already launched our next campaign for The Scorpion and the Queen, which is the sequel to The Catskin and the Rose, our Sapphic sword fight comic. That comic, the cover is made by Fell. So to wrap that back to our discussion from earlier. So there, I will always have, even if you listen to this and it's like months down the road, I probably have something running on Kickstarter. Just hit me up, check me out. I will have something.
Yeah, I'm just checking the schedule now because typically this episode would drop the day, like you'd have like 2 hours before like the Frankenstein campaign ends. I'm going to do my best to make sure it's up on at least by the 21st.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thankfully, I don't think we don't have anything I have to edit out here. So I thought I edit things anyway.
It's all
people know I'm too lazy to edit, but no, for real though, like, Wells is going to have tons of stuff, and whatever is you're able to go and support at the time, there'll definitely be links in the show notes below. And if it's months down the road, just Google Wells Thompson comics, and I'm sure it'll be a plethora of things that you can go pick up, buy, probably even pick up Frankenstein from a store now, or whatever happens. Because
fingers crossed.
Yeah. So with that, Wells, once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, sincerely.